All right, I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and start this and kick us off for final tier 2 set of the day between Team Drag and Team Samyang Fire. All right. So again, we are on Aztec, and in the 12 o'clock position, we have our Terran player. Oh, that's not it. There we go. Yogzototh. And in the, I guess, 4 o'clock position, bottom right, our Zerg player, Doc Holiday. So far, I think this is the first TVZ we had on this map, because we had a ZBZ, PvP, PvT, and ZVPV. So good variety of matchups. Be interesting to see how this plays out.
Oh, for sure. When in the preseason of CPL, I only played ZVT, and so I was going for insanely risky builds, like going 3 base before pool, and 3 hatch before pool, or like 12 hatch with a 3rd base at another base or something like that. Really, really risky, crazy builds. And the problem was every Terran I played afterwards had watched the preseason games, so they knew that I was playing really greedy. And when I decided that I was gonna play week 1 and I got matched with Yogzototh, he 8-racks me twice, which was really unfortunate. It was obvious that he knew how I played, because he 8-racks me the first time and I was able to hold it off, but then he went for double dropship before Science Vessel and killed me. And then the next game I went for 3 base before pool with a 9 scout and somehow completely missed the fact that he was bunker rushing me until the bunker was already up. So I don't know if that's typically how it plays, but he's obviously a player who studies his opponents very well. And Doc Holiday is a player who has lots of games that are floating around out there for people to study. So I would expect a planned build from Yogzototh. We see him trying to block this 12 hatch. Oh, is he gonna get the... Wow, nice save by Doc Holiday. SCV wins that fight 100 times out of 100 without moving shot micro, so looks like he's going to delay this expansion a lot. Doc Holiday pulling up almost 400 minerals, but he's going to have Lings out, so this will guarantee that the hatchery goes down. And no gas yet from Yogzototh, so this is definitely going to be a bio build. Now, normally he'd be dropping the command center around this time. I don't know why he doesn't have enough money for it. Oh, it's because he made a second Marine.
He's good enough.
Yeah, Ling's out on the map now. And Doc Holiday building up to six Lings, so...
Now, should he just build inside his main here? Oh, it looks like... Is that what he's about to do?
Yeah, I think he will. Like, this is going to be blocked as long as he remembers to put the SCVs on hold position. You have to box the...
okay, there it goes.
Yeah, he has to box the Marines with the SCVs for the SCVs to hold position, but there's no chance of this being broken. And Holiday, unfortunately...
he moved!
Wow, he's gonna go in for it, though. He's target firing the SCVs. Yeah, there's no chance, buddy. And now Yogzototh has the confidence to just push out here. But there's more Lings here. He's got to be careful. He's got to keep the SCVs in front of the Marines.
Oh,
wow. He's gonna get on top of the Marines. Wow,
and he kills go down.
And now there's nothing blocking the ramp. He could run inside, or he's just content to kill off these SCVs. This is good damage. Like, this early pool is already getting a lot of value for Doc Holiday. The only issue is he's only getting his gas now at the 4-minute mark. Does not manage to prevent the command center from going down. Now, Doc Holiday does have an SCV in the base, but he's not looking at anything at the larva right now, so he doesn't know if there's more Lings on the way. Just gonna build a bunker as a precaution anyway.
Okay.
And it's gonna be 3 hatch for Doc Holiday, but his gas is really late. I think he was hoping to to catch Yogzototh off guard with that early pool build, and Doc Holliday is definitely a player who's not afraid to 9-pool speed, or just straight up 9-pool to try and set you off of your game early on. He likes being the player to have tempo control of the game, as opposed to being reactive and trying to defend against everything that gets thrown at him. So
makes sense. I forgot to update these. Forgot to update these labels, so I'm gonna get started on that. I also I was messaging Not Lemon, and I requested the tier 1 sets since we're already on the last tier 2. I figure as long as you're free, I'm down to just wrap it up.
If this series goes long, I might have to leave in like an hour or so.
Oh, okay.
Depending on how quick these games go, we can definitely do tier 1 like sometime later this week.
Oh, okay.
But look at Doc Holliday. He's taking the third base at the easily defensible expansion.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is actually 4 hatch. He delayed his lair a bit. I think he figured, you know, hey, my lair is already late. I may as well try and sneak this base and try to go for lurkers first instead of going into Mutalisk play. Because he's gonna actually have a big lead in production with this extra hatchery, maybe threatening some sort of Zergling pressure. And we'll see if he starts Lurker Aspect. There we go. And now he should be building 3 Hydras and sending them to this base to make sure that he's defended. Scans from Yogzototh, so he's gonna see that this is not a Mutalisk build. And Yogzototh going for the 3 barracks attack. Sunken Colonies coming up. Now normally you want like 2 lurkers at your main and 3 at your expansion. Or sorry, 2 lurkers at your natural and 3 at your expansion to be able to defend against a 5-Rax push like this. And since there are no Mutalisks, there's nothing slowing down this Bio Ball. You know, Yogzototh has no reason to fear any Zerglings. But chances are he's just going to bomb in on this main. I don't know if he knows about this 3rd base yet. And it's probably not the location he'll look for first. He's going to have 2 Sunken Colonies up, but no Zergling support whatsoever. Okay, Zergling's coming out now. And I don't see any Hydralisks. So he's got Lurkers on the way, but no Hydralisks ready to morph. Yeah, this is 2 medics, so you want to have 1 more Sunken Colony than the number of medics. At least in theory. But I don't know if this is going to be sufficient to defend. I think maybe Yogzototh could just break this if he runs right in and targets down the Sunkens.
Yeah, he's giving him a lot of respect despite not seeing very much.
Yeah, maybe, I didn't exactly see where the scans went down. Maybe he thinks that it's going to be a little bit later Mutalisk coming out and that he's going to get pounced on as soon as he tries to break the Sunken line, but that Hydralisk den was well hidden at that 3rd hatchery. Oh, and look at Doc Holliday. Instead of transferring these Hydralisks or trying to build them at his expansion, oh, he is building 1 at the expansion, but he's just going to build Sunken Colonies at this ramp.
That's smart.
And there's no more additional rallies coming off from Yogzototh. I think Yogzototh is in the dark as to what Doc Holliday is doing.
Yeah,
otherwise
he is. I
checked
checked vision, and he did not scan the 3rd, so...
Okay, so he definitely does not know what's going on until he sees those lurkers, which he has not yet, to my knowledge. So Doc Holliday is going to get a 3.
Here we go!
Whoa, he's going to dive in on this with these lurkers. Good pullback by Yogzototh.
Very good.
Still going to lose a couple Marines, but all those Lings go down. Now the lurkers are going to take up a forward position. Oh, you can't push this. Yeah, not in a line like that.
Well, especially now they moved up the other 2. I think if it was just the 2 original lurkers, maybe, but
yeah,
not 4.
And Doc Holliday is feeling very, very safe here. He's going to add an additional colony. I think Yogzototh now he knows that. Now he knows what he's facing. Wow, look at this bizarre missile turret over at the 3rd base and the 4th base. He's got like a missile turret, like I don't even know what this is.
Yeah,
this is like the missile defense force over here at the 4th base.
Maybe he was
to catch drops. Or...
Yeah, he must have been thinking this guy's going for a lurker drop play.
Yeah, because otherwise, if he thought it was Mutalisks, he would have just built it in his main base. to try and defend. But now look at Doc Holliday's going to saturate his third base. He's on 3 gas. Now the downside of taking this third base as opposed to taking another natural or another main as your third base is that you have to regain map control before you have access to a fourth base.
Right.
And with vision at the other potential defensible fourth base, Yogzototh is going to be able to try and deny a potential fourth from Doc Holliday. So generally you go for this style if you're going for some sort of big mid-game attack. And Doc Holliday's building a lot of lurkers, definitely more than he needs for defense. So this is going to be some kind of dedicated mid-game attack. And he's going for a Defiler mound, and he just added a Spire. So my guess would be that this is going to be like a committed Defiler lurker attack to try and bust the natural or bust the third base. Now Yogzototh probing over to the third base. He's going to know now that he's not going to want to push up that ramp. And this is the tricky thing about this position is Yogzototh doesn't know if that's 1 or 3 lurkers or 11 that's buried right there. So it's very difficult to push into that until you have science vessels. And Yogzototh is actually going for tanks. So this is not going to be the pure SK tankless style. Instead going to be moving towards science vessel tank with only 3 barracks.
Well, the tanks in siege mode, they'll definitely outrange the lurkers. So he might just figure with all these sunks up and all these lurkers, he can kind of slow push his way either up through the natural or this third base here. But we'll see where he sends it.
Yeah, I think that's actually a good idea because if you look at where Doc Holliday's lurkers are, he's trying to defend this really wide ramp. Lurkers can they can sit on top of this ramp, but siege tanks can just siege push them back. I think Doc Holliday's idea here is he wants to set up a lurker build-up on these ramps and then take the fourth base that's directly below his lurkers. Oh man, yeah, he's gonna try and actually bust up this.
Well, he got off his I'm sorry, the word for it is escaping.
The irradiates. Oh yeah, there's no lurkers left here.
He got off 2 irradiates, so he did trade it for 1 vessel. The Scourge did have a good hit, but yeah,
I think this is super risky though because if Doc Holliday just unburns his lurkers and runs up to this whole army is dead, or at least is forced to abandon this push. And now he's going to lose a science vessel, which is no, he defends it. Nice stim forward, really well done. More lurkers coming out. No Nidus at this base.
Yeah, no Nidus might actually be a problem for him here.
Doc Holliday is adding additional hatches, though. He's got upgrades on the way.
Here comes the attack from the bigger ramp.
Reinforcements.
And this might be too much.
So I think, the problem with this style normally for Doc Holliday is when you build this many lurkers, you get sort of stuck in this mid-game funk where you don't have enough money off of 3 gas for all of your expensive hive units like the Defiler, Ultralisk, getting all your upgrades running, Nidus Canals. But actually, he's weathered the storm now, and his lurker play has been, very deft. Oh boy, now Dark Swarm coming in. Yogzototh needs to back up from this immediately. And now this is the map control that Doc Holliday needed. He's swarming out with these Zerglings, and now I think he can take any fourth base on the map that he really wants. Like this is exactly what he wanted. So I don't even think he needs to be obligated to take the fourth base down here, but he is gonna take it.
The mineral only.
At least the mineral only. His drone is postured for it, but I think that's fine. But the faster you can accelerate to fourth gaffs, that's really what you want to be aiming for.
Some really good
really good plague on the vessels. He should send these home. But no, he's going to use up all of his radiates first. So I guess he deems this to be safe, killing all these lurkers.
Not a bad trade. I mean, those are going to die in 1 hit. So.
And keep in mind, Yogzototh has a third base behind it. It's not a gas base. He has the mineral base, and he's actually been mining this for a long time. So. But you see the toll that it's taking with this tank-heavy style. Like, he's only now got 5 barracks, and look he's got 3,000 minerals and no gas left. So every ounce of his gas is being put towards science vessels, and I guess he's stopped tank production at this point. I do think
Should he be moving up to like 7 or 9 barracks at this point, or?
Yeah, definitely if he's going to be committing to this SK style. I think the issue with having this factory and building the machine shop, getting siege, and then investing in tanks is that if you basically get one push with that tactic, you get one tank push, and if it gets shut down by mutalisks or just good enough micro, then you're actually really far behind because you're pooling up a bunch of minerals and you don't have the barracks necessary to immediately extinguish that mineral bank and build up into a big SK force. And so now Doc Holliday's going to try and take the actual 4th base. He's poised to take that mineral only, but he doesn't even need to at this point. And look at this base is well defended. Immediate reaction. He's just got the Dark Swarm here. Going to try and irradiate the Defiler, but there's another Defiler backed up. This is just the mark of a good defensive Zerg. He's got another Defiler with full energy ready to go in case that Defiler gets irradiated, hiding it in the back so that it's unlikely to get picked off. Yogzototh still has control of the rest of the base, but the question is going to be where does he get his 3rd gas from? And Doc Holliday, actually, I love this tactic. He knew that Yogzototh didn't send the irradiated vessels back, so he just makes 2 mutalisks, sends them in to pick off the plague vessels, and that sets Yogzototh behind by a lot because every vessel is critical.
Oh, interesting. He's going to expand on the low ground here in front. I was actually expecting him to expand where he already set up his turrets, but I guess as far away from the Zerg as possible is probably what he's thinking.
Yeah, I think this 3rd base on the low ground is actually pretty good because look at where Yogzototh's units are. He has strong control of the center.
Right.
The main thing is when I see Terrans in ZVTs take this base, I'm actually really happy because as long as you win one fight in the middle, once a Defiler gets to that base, it's immediately dead.
Yeah, it's very surroundable.
Yeah, there's lots of angles to attack. It's a very short distance for Defilers to walk from your ramp to that base right there.
Oh, we have a big Zergling counterattack coming into the 3rd.
Yeah.
He does have a bunker up, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
Yeah, and these are upgraded Zerglings too. These are I can't click on one because they're dying too fast. Okay, we'll click on one back at the base. 1-1 lands.
1-1.
3-1 ultras, and oh my god, holy mother of ultralisks in Doc Holliday's base. They're not even rallied, but he's got a lot of ultras. I think some of them are getting roadblocked, but they should have a clear path out of here.
Oh wow!
This is where Zerg is like really terrifying. You know.
I just don't think there's enough at this 3rd, so he's probably just going to be able to run up this ramp where that bunker was and smash it.
There is a tank here, but that's not going to be enough. And especially this low ground base, you can have, you know, if you just look at the screen and while you're centered on that low ground base, you can fit probably 200 supply of Zerglings in that one screen because there's so much open area. It looks like Yogzototh's going to try and irradiate the defenses at this 3rd base. He's determined to crack this. I mean, currently, you know, the 4th base is completely undefended, and he's not even mining the gas there yet, but look at this. The plagued vessels are still continuing to haunt Yogzototh as these mutas fly in.
I mean, Yogzototh might be able to run up this and take it out, although he does have a Nidus now, so I'm wondering...
Yeah, he needs to snipe the Nidus. That's what he needs to do, is bring down this Nidus immediately.
Okay, it looks like we're just going to have a big fight here.
Yet, but yeah, the fight's coming in. There's no Defiler here. I honestly don't even think it matters. You don't need Defilers when you have this many Ultras. But more rallying coming in. The Science Vessel count is still healthy. Like, make no mistake. He's still got a good number of Science Vessels. And he's doing a good job of using all of his energy. But I feel like Doc Holliday just has to win one fight, and he's going to steamroll these bases. And it looks like this is the fight he wants to take right now. There's no energy for Irradiate on these Ultralisks. And you know what? Ultralisks actually get a little bit better after they're irradiated, as long as they have something to hit. Although they do move slower, because for some reason units in StarCraft like to stop moving when they get hit. But, you know, we're going to rampage into this 3rd base now. Oh, these Ultras are going to die. They took enough damage, so...
Yeah, I think the travel time was enough to whittle them down with the Irradiate.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you are right, though. If they were immediately fighting Marine, they would have been almost buffed. So...
Yeah. And more Ultralisks, more Lings continuing to flow out of Doc Holliday's main.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of hatcheries in here.
Doc is doing a great job keeping his minerals pretty low, consistently building Zerglings and just harassing wherever his units are.
Yeah, now that he's gonna have this, you know, he should be taking this 4th gas, but I don't even think he's that worried about it because he knows that he's got all the pressure on right now, and he's gonna be able to do enough damage to compensate for the fact that his 4th gas is not up yet. I mean, look at this ultra count. If you can afford this many ultralisks, man, and you don't have a 4th gas, I mean, you did something right because most of the time you can't afford this many ultras.
We do have battle cruisers out, but I don't know if they're gonna have enough DPS to manage this.
Yeah, 3 battle cruisers. I feel like Zerg is just too mobile at this point in the game for the battle cruisers to matter. Excuse me.
And he's got Zerglings hitting the 4th as well, so this is not looking good for Yogzototh.
Yeah, I think his production is just too stymied at this point. Still on 6 barracks. He probably wanted to build up to 9 barracks at some point to, you know, help bring down these the mineral count. I should have mentioned this too. This is also an amazing Zerg map for DBZ. Like Zerg.
It's just a good Zerg map, isn't it?
It is the Zerg map, man. This is the map that all Zergs love to play. When Zergs dream of them winning massive macro games, it's on Aztec, even if they don't realize it. So now Doc Holliday's got everything Nidus'd up. He's got a massive amount of larva. You know, these battle cruisers, he doesn't even care. He can lose all these drones and it won't make a difference. As long as his tech is intact. Hydra's being produced. This is interesting. But Scourge as well. You know, now...
Oh, nice plague.
Yeah, that was good.
Onto the BCs. And now with the Scourge coming in, this might be...
Well, yeah, I think it's like 6 Scourge to kill a battle, or maybe it's 5 Scourge to kill a battle cruiser. But anyway, yeah, battle cruisers are cleaned up, and those are expensive. You know, the tech costs a lot of money. I feel like
juicy plague could happen here.
Yep,
on all these vessels.
Oh, not enough energy. He was 5 energy short, and now Yogzototh is going to gain back a little bit of momentum. Oh, there goes a plague.
He gets 3 of them.
He's gonna eraser the Zerglings. With that, the Zerglings will scatter in every direction. It's like stepping on an anthill when you pop an irradiate on a bunch of Zerglings. They just scatter in every direction, and they become even more of an annoyance than beforehand. And now things coming through the Nidus. He's even using his 4th base for production now. Still not mining gas though. Doc Holliday determined to prove that he can win this game with only 3 gas, and for the fate of the Zerg, I want him to succeed because usually 4th gas is like your tipping point there. Pressure going to be put onto this 3rd base yet again. Not even getting a single vessel, and he's going to be managing to irradiate these. I do think Yogzototh might be able to break this base as long as Doc Holliday doesn't bring a whole bunch of stuff through the Nidus Canal.
He's down to just 1 lurker and 1 sunken.
Yeah, and look at this double Zergling counterattack. He's going to attack both the locations he expects there to be a base. And Yogzototh has absolutely no money. This is it for Yogzototh. Like, this is the end of his game, basically, now, if he doesn't get this command center out.
Looks like we got action on both fronts, but the Zerglings are getting in here pretty deep.
Yeah.
And the SCV are just sitting there. Nothing left to mine, really. And it looks like we got plenty coming through the Nidus Canal. More lurkers set up here. And I think this might just be the end.
Yeah, Doc Holliday, his 4th gas still isn't mining. This is amazing. I feel like he took a dare or something to, like, never mine this 4th gas. Like, he just took this base to, like, put, like, 20 drones on. Is like, yeah, I'm gonna get all the minerals and just make cracklings. And it's working for him. Like, look at this. This is just crushing. Yogzototh has no money left. And the crackling counterattacks are gonna be enough to just tear him apart at this point. There's no production left for Yogzototh. We should be seeing GG, like, any second now. Even if he gets this command center up, there's not enough time for him to resume mining and come back in this game. It's hard to tell where Yogzototh went wrong in this game. I think he maybe took too long to break the 3rd base or the 2nd base when he had time to put on pressure before the lurkers were morphing.
Yeah.
And
then
maybe these BCs, like, they're really good if you're ahead and you're already pulling Zerg apart with your multitask. They add another easy form of multitask to
there's GG.
Exploit. But GG, Doc Holliday takes it. Really strong macro performance from him, man. That was impressive. Seriously, like winning with 3 gas as Zerg TVZ, not easy, but he made it look easy, man. Yogzototh did his best, but Doc Holliday looking really strong in this series so far.
Yeah, I agree. I know we talked about when he was doing that initial tank push, if he just had a few more barracks up, he might have been able to reinforce a little better before the Nidus was up, because that third was certainly vulnerable, and then I guess also not finding the third until so late in the game. Because there was a long period where he just had 2 Sunkens, and he could have probably just ran that over.
And I think he was unfortunate to not scan the Hydralisk Den, because if he did that, he would have known exactly what he was up against.
Mm-hmm.
He had that kind of a strange constellation of missile turrets placed around the map that never really got utilized, and there were a couple opportunities where, oh my god, this map, I forgot this map was in the map pool. Holy cow, Polaris Rhapsody. This map is absolutely awful. I'm amazed that no Terrans picked this against me, but anyway, like I was saying, there were a couple opportunities where Yogzototh could have just run in and won with inadequate defenses, but did not seize those opportunities, and Doc Holliday was able to take it as a result.
Yeah, absolutely. So, game 2, we're going to be on Polaris Rhapsody. Here we go.
And just like I said before, how Aztec is the dream Zerg map, this is the dream Terran map, specifically for TVZ. Because Zerg is always looking at how am I going to get a third base, and all of the third base options on this map are horrible for Zerg. Like, they're really, really bad. Doc Holliday not convinced with his, oh, he did forget his first Overlord. I remember, I figured that he was just going for some kind of overpool build because he did an extractor trick, but anyway, the third base options on this map are absolutely terrible. The one that Zergs most often take are the 3 o'clock base for Doc Holliday here, directly above his main base, because it actually only has 1 ground avenue of entry.
I love their back and forth.
Yeah, this explanation is on point. Yeah, Doc Holliday was doing 4 hatch lurker with 3 bases. So I don't fault Yogzototh for not finding that base, for sure. That was a very uncommon build. Doc Holliday does like to break out the uncommon builds, but yeah, my macro is garbage.
There's nothing worse than the guy who just won constantly self-deprecating. Like, oh yeah, I played terrible. And you just stomped him with ultras.
Yeah, on 3 gas. Like, Yogzototh busting out a crazy 30 APM right now to Doc Holliday's 400. I don't know, he must be or typing maybe. But,
yeah, he's thinking about a clever reply.
The only thing worse than that is, like, when you play an absolutely god-awful game, like, you build, like, 2 cybernetics cores by accident, like, you know, you get pylon blocked for, like, 4 minutes, and then you make 8 pylons and, like, have nothing, and then the guy's like, good game, dude, you want to play a rematch? Like, that was like, I played in months, and you're just like, oh my gosh. Look at Yogzototh too, he's gonna try and deny this base again. This is like a consistent thing he does.
Oh wow, that was probably like the last possible second.
This is, you can tell. Alright, this is CPL right here, man. He saw a Doc Holliday pulling off this gas trick beforehand, and now within 1 game, he learned the counter. You gas steal their natural before they place their hatchery, man. That's the build. That's the build that he's going for. And it's working for him so far.
Oh, he's gonna get a drone. Oh. This is not...
I would
actually...
man.
This is going great for Yogzototh.
Yeah,
Or
for
Yogzototh,
sure.
I should say.
Yogzototh.
Yogzototh. Not the easiest tag.
Yeah, definitely not. He's
Bit of a tongue
the
twister.
great. He's one of the great old ones from the Cthulhu mythos, man. And yet he spends his time bunker rushing Zergs on StarCraft. But look, his micro has been insanely good this series. I will say, especially this early micro, man. Wow, there he goes.
All
Coming
right.
off the,
Oh, not a good roll by Yogzototh.
Wow, command center in construction. Oops, says Doc Holiday. Wow, with the BM. He's like, whoops, I and didn't micro. Okay, well, he's gonna reset the Marine count. That's something, I guess. But the pull was on point from Yogzototh, man. He shut that down.
Yeah, I think Doc may have taken that moment a little for granted, typing oops and not targeting down the Marine.
Yeah, he thought he had the game in the bag there, but Yogzototh on point, man. He reacted perfectly. Even the SCV building the command center survived with one hit left. Oh, more Lings coming in. Okay, now it's dead. Second barracks coming down. And man, Zerglings, they absolutely destroy Marines, man. Look at these Marines. They just barely escaped with their lives.
Yeah.
Doc Holiday finally going to get his base down. He's going to go for 3-hatch play once again. Gas up, and still, I mean, this is... I don't know, this is something I'd noticed. His gases and his expansions... Or sorry, his layers have been late. And I think it has to do with his expansion getting delayed. I think he's following the build order maybe a little bit too rigidly. You know, like you're always used to like, okay, I take my expansion, then I put my 3rd hatch down, and then I put my gas down, and then I get layer. Well, you have to adjust the order to that if your expansion gets delayed. So I think that may have accounted for the fact why his gas was delayed. I don't know. I wasn't watching that closely. I was watching his Lings run straight up the ramp, but...
As was I.
Yeah. Anyway, Yogzototh's gonna get his expansion, and this bunker has 4 Marines plus 3 more. So no more Ling run by is gonna be possible. So Doc Holiday, he's got this drone down at this corner base. You'll notice this base is a double gas, and in theory, that's a great thing for Zerg. You get to your 4 gas economy right away if you're able to secure that base, but in reality, it's almost impossible just because it's so far away from your main base until you get a Nidus Canal.
Well, what's interesting is Doc actually sent one in the opposite corner as well. So Yogzototh denied it, so he might be thinking, okay, I just denied his initial 3rd attempt, when in reality he's going for the bottom left.
Oh, and Doc Holiday has a ton of Zerglings. If he catches out this Terran move out, there's no medics here at all. Doc Holiday could just crush this. Oh, but this is exactly how you don't want to be engaging in a line.
Yeah, okay, there he finally gets the surround going, but
so he's going to clean this up. It could have been much more efficient if he had recognized that that's what the Terran was doing earlier on.
Speed is also done now.
This is trouble.
He might be able to run past. Oh, he pulled the ones from the barracks, or from the bunker, and looks like he got onto this ramp, just going for the SCVs right here immediately.
Yeah, there's nothing in this bunker, so he's going to be able to clean out this natural. Oh, more Marines pouring out, though. Luckily, he's not missing a beat with his macro. Factory under construction, so this is 3 Racks Academy with a factory. I don't know what that move out was about, because he moved out with Marines before he had any medics, despite for going for such an early factory, and there's no Marine upgrades behind this. So, interesting to see what he plans to do with this build. No 3rd base for either player yet, and it looks like Doc Holiday's going to prepare for his defense. Once again, he opted to go for Lurkers instead of Mutalisks, which I think is actually the right choice on this map. Although, it's going to get countered because looks like Yogzototh is going to go into tanks once again. And if you try to secure a 3rd base with Lurkers on this map, the counter is tanks. So, as long as he can rebuild his Bio Ball and he's not going to get ambushed by a Ling counterattack somewhere, I think Yogzototh is actually in a pretty good position as long as he scouts out this base. Now, if this goes unscouted and Doc Holiday gets double gas up, this is serious trouble for Terran. because theoretically you should never be able to get this base as Zerg. It's so exposed and it's so far away from your reinforcements.
Yeah, one thing
lurker aspect is finishing though.
I haven't played this map in a while, but
yeah.
One thing I'm noticing is all the expansions or all the other bases, they are either the same ground or they're actually on lower ground. So yeah, lurkers are going to be very important, and tank sieging is going to be very, very powerful on this map.
Yeah, and the base that you'd normally be taking as your third, directly above Doc Holliday's base, is actually very siegeable. Like, there's these high ground walls, but if you get a vessel floating over those walls, you can just siege it from the other side. So tank build's really popular on this map. And, uh-oh, man, this looks like Yogzototh is just going to go in for the bust. Doc Holliday has lurkers. Okay, they're hatched in time, so this is not going to work for Yogzototh. He's actually moving forward.
Oh, you didn't... Got a burrow. Okay.
He's got more lurkers on the way, but look, there's no defense at this third. Oh, Yogzototh, I think he sniffed it out. He knows that there's no third base. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's just checking the middle.
He didn't scan it, so he doesn't have vision of it.
Yeah, and another thing, this map has a lot of mineral onlys.
Oh, you know what? Do you think that drone right there was a fake? You think that was a fake? Like, I'm going out for my third right now. Oh, I don't think it matters. Yogzototh is sniffing it out.
Anyway, yeah, it may have backfired because I don't think Yogzototh knew about this base or was even going to consider it. He was just going to try and tank push into the natural, but now he's like, maybe he's got a hidden base, and it's found. Oh, moving
got action here at the natural.
A little bit slow to burrow. If he's able to
take outside of the range,
he's fine.
Yeah, I think he's gonna get the tank for sure. But
yeah, okay, this buys him time.
Those lurkers are gonna have to. Yeah, those lurkers are gonna have to run over, or he's just gonna have to sack it.
Yeah, there's no.
He's building Zerglings here. What is this? What is this indecision?
I don't know.
Yogzototh is gonna lose his.
Wow, yeah, he needs to pay attention to this bioforce. He's gonna try to go in on it. Wow, that was suicidal for sure. I don't know what that was, but
I don't know. Now he has enough Zerglings to defend.
That is, if you had asked me how that scenario was going to play out, in no world would I have guessed that the Zerglings that were building at the third base were going to defend it. But that happened. So surprising. Yogzototh now I think is really on the back foot. Like, I think Doc Holliday's going to have enough time to defend this third base. Doc Holliday's going to be on 4 gas, and from there it's pretty much curtains for Terran. All of the nearby bases are all mineral onlys.
I'm trying to get inside Yogzototh's head there with that decision. I'm wondering if he thought that Doc Holliday was just gonna build a bunch of Sunkens and force that reaction, and he was just gonna try to intercept the lurkers coming across, and that was his game plan. But I don't think it really worked out. I think it kind of backfired, and Doc Holliday called the bluff.
Yeah, now Doc Holliday's like scanning all around the map, and
although we have another force coming down with a vessel.
Yeah, so it looks like the same, actually this pretty much identical build that Doc Holliday went for the last game. He's going for the Defiler Mound and the Spire at roughly the same time, and there's no forces here to defend this third base. He's got Lings out on the map, but that's not going to be sufficient.
Okay.
He hasn't moved any lurkers.
Marine stemmed in here. The Zerglings are coming down. Looks like he's targeting down the hatchery. I think he's gonna get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Doc Holliday definitely had a window to defend this, like to get units there and defend it. But he had moved a bunch of his Lings up towards that mineral only, maybe expecting an expansion from Yogzototh.
Right. Ooh, so I love this tank position here. That was actually that was like a bait to follow him.
And he can even move a tank onto the high ground here to prevent any pushes out here. Look at how narrow this choke point is. And if this was just a regular choke point onto flat ground, it would be absolutely fine for Zerg to take this base. But since it's a ramp right after the choke point, Terran can do things like this and just watch for any movement, make sure that there's nothing happening. And the hatchery's going to be rebuilt, but this is a long time without gas. More lurkers are being put down. And look, now he's sieging it from both directions. So this base is essentially just on its own. This is a refugee base at this point. Now the creep is receding. Okay, so he has the creep colony up.
I think Daka's gonna go for a counter. I think that's
you're right.
his best bet here. And maybe while the counter is going on, maybe try to move up the lurkers. But here we go with Zerglings at the natural.
Yeah, attacking into this natural is not going to work. He needed to maybe go for which he has not yet scouted. But lurkers are now dying at the third base. Doc Holliday's going to bail out, and he's going to go for the regular third base 3 o'clock position. Adding more hatcheries. It looks like he's going to go for a heavy Zergling style with defilers. No Ultralisk tech on the way. But he does have a lot of defilers, so, you know, maybe with good enough defiler control, he can take fights in the middle of the map, and the counterattacks can be deadly, especially if he manages to get a defiler to the front of Yogzototh's base. I mean, this is still a very precarious position, but now the third base is forfeit, and he's going to be able to just put the pressure back on. He doesn't have anything to fear out on the map. I don't know if he actually knows about the third base yet.
Now,
but,
if you're Doc Holliday, do you set up a Nidus, or do you put your defilers out to defend the third here and just wait till you get that up and secure?
I think the only way this lives is if you have a Nidus with both plate defilers and
it looks like they're gonna fight right here. I don't think this is a very good fight for Yogzototh, but I guess he might not have known that defiler tech is out, and now he knows. I'm surprised that tank is still up, like right by the. Okay. So it looks like Doc Holliday's going to clean this up, but we have a pretty strong Bioforce coming down here that's going to reinforce, and I wonder if he's going to go straight for this third. Did we lose you, Jake? You still there?
Oh no, I'm still here. Sorry about that. I just had to move for a second.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, and it looks like Yogzototh actually took a third, and he's fully saturated, has a nice bunker blocking the entry, so yeah, this is looking rough for Doc Holliday. He's probably wishing he didn't type oops in the beginning.
Yeah, I feel like that was just instant karma, like, you know, you feel like you're styling on a guy when you're like, oh man, I ran Lings up his ramp or whatever. Maybe against Protoss that's okay, because Protoss, you know, oftentimes that is the end of the game, but, you know, Terran, losing those Lings and committing them to an attack like that is actually a pretty big deal.
Right.
But anyway, I think the game came down less to karma and more to the fact that this is Polaris Rhapsody, which is an absolutely awful map, and the fact that he decided to risk it with that third base, because, like I said, that third base is extremely hard to defend. You saw exactly why. Zerg doesn't have complete map control. That double position siege is just ridiculous. Wow, nice fight in the middle of the map, though. Oh, he just walks off it.
Good control by Yogzototh.
Yeah, and actually, I love this bunker at his third base. Like, that's an amazing tactic that you don't see very much. I think the main reason you don't see it is because games on this map never actually get to a third base for Terran. They usually just kill the Zerg. But that's a great defensive measure, and that bunker is never getting broken. So now, Yogzototh is stabilized on 3 gas. He can afford everything he wants. A little bit supply blocked, but it looks like he's going to have a devastating attack going in. I'm really amazed at the number of Zerglings that Doc Holliday made this game. Like, it's seriously impressive.
Oh, he's going to erase her the Zerglings.
Oh, he's going to erase her the Lings! Oh, wow. They didn't run away as quickly as they should have, probably. Now he's going to erase her into the main, wow, with extra irradiates on the Defiler. This is just punishment for not having enough Scourge, I suppose.
Wow.
But yeah, that's just, that's horrible.
One vessel is 10, one has a 13. Yikes.
Man.
I think he could just, I think he could just push this natural now. There's not enough here.
Yeah. I think it you know, it sucks that Doc Holliday is stuck on only 2 base now because this game is essentially over. Oh, Ultralisk's coming out. Oh man, I was actually hoping that when Doc Holliday took that base, he would play it a little bit like Jaedong versus Flash in the Nate MSL finals, where it was a similar map where there was a corner base with 2 gas, and Jaedong took that base around the same time Doc Holliday did and went for Crazy Zerg instead. But you know, it's Polaris Rhapsody is even harder map than that was. I think the map was Odd Eye, if I remember correctly. But look at how many hatcheries that Doc Holliday has. He's just all Zerglings, man. More Lings. He knows that it's the most imbalanced unit Zerg has, so he's just gonna keep making them. Which is not actually a bad play. I wonder what's going on with this attack down here. I think what he's waiting for is he's waiting for Yogzototh to commit heavily into his choke and then surround him with Lings.
Yeah.
And now he's going to try and move a force around to do the same, because he has to know that there's no counterattack opportunity here. Oh, well, maybe he is going to try and counterattack, but I think he's just hoping for like a miracle surround at this point. Yogzototh has a base up on him and almost 100 supply. So realistically,
oh wow, that actually wasn't tight. He just slipped Zerglings right past.
Okay, so he actually is gonna, and there were no Marines in the bunker too. For some reason, he just decided to take him out of there. Building, well, okay, so he does clean it up. The SCVs are still running away. They want to get transferred to a new branch of the Terran Command Center Corporation because they're on their way out. Zerglings though, okay. He's got a D-Matrix. I think he wanted to run in with the Marine and just finish Doc Holliday off right now, but I mean, Doc Holliday's almost 100 supply behind, so realistically his chances in this game are completely over. He does have his 3rd base back up again, but now Yogzototh is going to take a double gas base in the top right, and while this is vulnerable to Zergling counterattacks, I think Doc Holliday's almost completely showed his hand here with his production, because Yogzototh can just fly in and see everything.
Yeah, I think he's just gonna slowly reinforce and then get closer and closer. He knows it's primarily all Zergling and
oh yeah, this is gonna end game here too. GG.
GG.
An inquisitive GG by Doc Holliday.
Very interesting.
Very pensive as he stared out the window and rubbed his beard in a thoughtful way. Polaris Rhapsody, good game.
All right.
Well, you know,
we're gonna go to game 3 then.
I actually thought that Doc Holliday had a good chance at winning that game if he secured the 3rd base, and I think he had a window where he could have, but he was instead trying to sniff out a 3rd base, and yeah, Yogzototh with no intentions of taking 3rd bases, just went in for the kill instead, and Doc Holliday's units were out of position, which is unfortunate because I would have loved to see a Zerg win on Polaris Rhapsody. I don't know if that's ever happened, but it would have been nice to see.
Yeah, it felt like to me in the early game it was very close and even Doc favored, but
yeah, for sure.
Went for that sneaky 3rd, and he got caught this time. But
yeah.
All right, final game on Circuit Breaker. Nice. Between Yogzototh and Doc Holliday. Nice big map. I'm hoping for a big macro game here, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, also known as Circuit Breaker.
Circuit Breaker.
Due to its balance, I guess. Doc Holliday likes to do the fast 3rd base style on this map too. I know when he knows that his opponent is going to play greedy, he'll go for 3 hatch before pool, or he'll go for 3 base before, like a fast 3rd base, basically, like a 2.5 hatch style, where you're dropping a 3rd hatch around 18 supply. I've seen him do that versus like Sham2 before. Like, you know Sham2 is probably not going to cheese you, so you can get away with greed like that on a map like Circuit Breakers. Specifically, I saw him go for 3 hatch before pool into lurkers. You know, I don't know if I've seen Doc Holliday go Muta very much, but I really like his style because he'll go for lurkers, but he'll build a lot of speedlings as well. And a lot of times he'll have a speedling group out on the map with his lurkers just moving around trying to push the bio ball back. And when he sees you move out, he'll send in 12 Zerglings as counterattack to try and harass your natural.
Yeah, so, Doc really seems like a Zergling happy
Yeah,
type of
and which
Zerg
is
player.
good because his Zergling plays so far has been pretty impressive. I mean, he's all over the place with counterattacks, and he stays on top of his scouting, so... We'll see what kind of builds they opt for. Doc Holliday is just going to go for 12 hatch, looks like. And I would be surprised if Yogzototh went for anything but a regular Rex CC, because this map, it is possible to like do a barracks or bunker rush or something like that, but it's really slow and not that good. If you micro your drones well, which Doc Holliday is certainly capable of, you can easily just deflect something like that. This time, Doc Holliday is not going to have his hatchery blocked, and he's not going to have any painful SCV interactions on account of it being a 4-player map.
And they're also both scouting in the incorrect directions to start, but they're close to one another. What's interesting about being close to one another on Circuit Breaker is you can just keep expanding away from your opponent. So
yeah.
I feel like this is kind of good for the Zerg player.
Yeah, and he's going for a fast pool, and he is scouting the middle of the middle of the map. So he was definitely afraid of an 8-racks or something like that. You probably wouldn't BBS on Circuit Breaker, but 8-racks definitely a possibility in the middle of the map, and he's gonna get a late scout, but he's totally fine. He went for 12 hatch, 11 pool, and should be dropping a 3rd hatch. If I know Doc Holliday at all, a 3rd hatch will be in his very near future. So
looks like here we go. There it is.
Yeah, there we are. So pretty standard
Yogzototh is gonna throw down a bunker. No.
Yeah, bunker. Even the fake bunker. I had Yogzototh fake bunker me one time where he just started building the bunker, and he actually had gone like 12 racks. And my scout was so late that the bunker actually got completely finished, and so he did like a bunker rush off of like a 12 or a 13 racks. Is pretty wild. And so Doc Holliday, he knows now. He sees no gas, so you know that's not. Or at least he assumes it's no gas from what he's seen with that many Marines. So 4 lanes, safe opening.
It's looking like both players are respecting one another and just gonna go into the mid game.
Yeah, and it looks like Doc Holliday might actually catch out this scouting SCV. I guess he had a feeling it was down here, or maybe he's trying to catch it coming back from the 7 o'clock base. Oh, it's there. They see each other. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Zerglings have kind of like a really small aggro range, which is pretty annoying, but
interesting.
They yeah, especially in like ZVZ, like there's like a gigantic fight happening with like 30 Zerglings dying, and then the ones that just hatched are just kind of chilling there. But Yogzototh definitely respecting Doc Holliday's early pool plays with this bunker. Generally, you wouldn't need this. You just put a supply depot like somewhere near the ramp, and park your Marines behind that. But Doc Holliday this time, he's not going to be stymied by a later lair like he was in the last 2 games. He's actually, his lair is almost halfway done at the time he was taking his gas in some of the previous games.
Yogzototh's SCV makes it all the way up here and scouts the Hydralisk Den. That's actually a pretty nice scout here.
Yeah, so now he knows exactly what he's up against. If I were Yogzototh, I would not be surprised at the fact that there was a Hydralisk Den, seeing as Doc Holliday always goes lurkers. But, you know, and he also sees drones hatching. That's a pretty big deal as well. Because he knows it's not going to be like a 3-hatch lurker drop or something like that. Something super aggressive where you make it look like it's just a 3rd base setup, and then you have slow overlords with drop. Because look at Yogzototh's vision inside of his base. You could actually like very easily do a slow lurker drop into the main, and it would just kill Yogzototh right now. But it looks like he's repeating his build. He's going for 3 Raxes and his academy. No engineering bay yet. Stim is on the way, and he sees the move out. So Doc Holliday should be dropping 2 sunken colonies right now. He's got 1 on the way. He's making a lot of drones, man. Like 9 drones just rallied out.
He's actually got 3 sunks on the way. Looks like he's opting for the sunks and less Zerglings this time around. He's just droning up.
I'm guessing he saw the medics, so he knows that his his lurkers aren't going to be out in time. So 3 sunks is going to be absolutely safe versus this. With no other defense. So as long as he doesn't go in, okay, morph perfectly in time. So that's the advantage, you know, for all the Zerg players out there. That's why you always need to have a Ling outside of their base. Even if you don't know what build they're going for specifically, if you see a move out around that timing with medics, you know that it's going to be some sort of 2-Rex Academy play, and that you have time to drop those sunken colonies. But it looks like, yeah, he scans, and he doesn't see a...
yeah, he scanned for the third.
Natural, which was weird.
He scanned both, I think.
Oh, okay, like. So he knows that there's no base there.
Yeah, he's on it, though. He's trying to sniff it out.
Yeah, normally the natural, that would be a pretty suicidal base to take. Or you can be like Shine and take your opponent's mineral only, which would obviously not have worked in this case. Gonna try and run some links through. Engineering Bay only now just coming up.
And he does have that factory again, but no machine shop yet.
Wow. Okay, so I think he was trying to fake the lurkers because he hasn't made any Hydralisks yet. It's just pure muta production.
I like this. I like this
this
play.
is a total Doc Holiday move right here.
Although, did he sniff this out blind?
I don't know. I think he may be looking to just take a fast.
Does he see it?
Oh, the Mutilisks are going to get in, and there's no turrets here at all. So he definitely did not know that it would be Mutalisk. Oh wow, Mutalisks inside the main. Wow,
he's going to get right on top of this.
Yogzototh desperately building turrets, but they're just going to splash all over these SCVs, man. This is super dangerous. He definitely had Yogzototh tricked. He knew it was a lurker build of some kind, but Doc Holiday just not making any lurkers, building that late Spire. And I think maybe Yogzototh could have been clued on by the lack of a third base and the extra sunkens that were being morphed. Usually you only need 2 sunkens if you've got lurkers and lings out to defend. Of course, Doc Holiday had neither. He skimped them to get these Mutilisks. Now he's going to micro. You're going to watch those Doc Holiday Muta micro skills. He's got 6 Mutilisks left. One of them is very badly bruised.
Yeah, I think it's just...
Is he going to continue?
I think he's just going to retreat from here. But that was a great attack there.
Yeah, it was a good timing attack. I think Yogzototh held on reasonably well. He got those turrets up and he got his bio back into position. It gave Doc Holiday a lot of space, and I think he is going to try and expand now. He's got lurkers on the way. Still got a good number of mutas alive. It looks like he's going to circle back in and try to come in.
Now, is that, sorry, I'm not...
Oh, no, go ahead.
Is this at the lair? Is that researching, the Overlord,
Oh, that's, Ventral Sacs.
So, that's for drops, correct?
Yeah, that's for drops.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I don't take much heed of whenever drops are being researched, because often you'll hit your hotkey for your base, hit S to select your larva, and then hit V to make overlords, which is like the common hotkey. But he's letting it finish. Oh no, he canceled it. So he definitely was making drops by accident. So that happens a lot. A lot of people who have in StarCraft 2, they put their overlords on V, and V is also the hotkey for Ventral Sacs, which is drop.
Oh,
so
I see.
A lot of the time you end up building Ventral Sacs by accident. So a lot of time I see that fairly often. But Doc Holiday looking to establish a third base, and he's going up to Hive.
Ooh,
yeah, I think it would have been a mistake.
I think he has hold position lurkers here in the middle.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. Although he's pulling the bio away, and the bio should not encounter these lurkers unless they're going for right.
He's trying to get him to come over.
He's baiting them back. Yeah.
But I think he might. Does he know? Or is he just getting very lucky?
No, I don't think he can.
Here's 2 medics. Let's see. 2 medics. He's just not biting.
Yep. Well, I think he's just beelining it to the bottom to try and kill this base.
Oh wow, perfect scan.
Yeah, Yogzototh now taking a third base, and he's gonna get Doc Holiday's third. Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe it was a mistake. Like, maybe he tried to get Hive earlier, but he was researching drops because that'll block the building of the Hive. But it's 10 minutes, and Hive only just finished, so it's going to be hard to hold on to this.
Ooh, this is a very unfortunate Zerg counterattack. Just got destroyed.
Just got
by
completely
Bio Ball.
swatted away. And at the same time, Yogzototh's main Bio Force is going to deny this third base. BC cancels the hatcheries, but this is going to leave Doc Holliday high and dry.
Uh-oh.
I mean,
Lurker's coming down. Another hold position opportunity, perhaps?
Yeah, maybe. I don't think Yogzototh, though. See, the thing is, Yogzototh doesn't even need to attack into the second, or into the natural at this point. He knows that Doc Holliday just gave up a third, and so...
He's coming out.
Oh, yep, there he goes. He's got his Ling counterattacks. Oh, wow. Does he know? Is he waiting for a scan?
This is
No,
so
he's got a
tense.
scan.
I think he's in range. He's at least in range of the first one.
Yeah, I think he's waiting for them to move to the second one. Wow, he's moving back. Maybe
how does he know?
This
is freaky.
Yeah, that's weird, man. Doc Holliday, though, he's going to take this third base. This is actually fine to take, but again, from here, it's really hard to take a fourth base.
Oh,
this is what the kind of move you have to do at this point.
I really like this push coming through the top here.
Yeah, this is sneaky with tanks. This is the same build that Yogzototh did in the past 2 games too, going for 2 tanks before transitioning into a science vessel.
He's pulling
back.
Look,
he's gonna try and bait the bio into chasing the Lings over these hold position lurkers.
Oh, okay, he doesn't know. Okay. Maybe he did know. Oh man, that's crazy.
Wow, these hold position not working out, but I will say this hold position lurker style is great for exploiting the way Yogzototh plays. He builds a lot of tanks and has later vessels, but these Lings, man, they don't, you know, Lings are so great in the early game and they're so great in the late game. They are absolutely garbage in the mid game. You know, Zerglings do absolutely nothing at this stage in the game unless you're able to really catch a Terran army out and in a weak position. And now I think Yogzototh can just siege and bounce back between these 2 bases.
Although Defiler is out.
Oh, that's true.
Does he have consume?
He's irradiated. Oh, he needs to drop Dark Swarm. Oh, no energy, and there's no other Defiler on the way. This is bad. Okay, he does have one more Defiler on the way. Consume should be done, unless he hasn't started it yet. Siege is up. Wow, he's even gonna siege these lurkers that are blocking their stream. Yogzototh billing. Well, I don't know. He's saturating this a little bit, but not really a priority. He's really just focused on this attack.
Oh no, these lurkers. It looked like there was a attempt at a lurker counter, but they never even got to burrow at the natural. Dark Swarm is up, but I don't know if it's doing enough. Oh, these Zerglings are going to get on top of the tanks.
That's good. He's going to get these tanks. And this is the thing with these tank pushes. Once these tanks go down, that's all of your momentum gone until you can get enough energy for Irradiate. Wow, he's actually going to pull the forces that were quarantining Yogzototh's Bio Ball in the bottom left corner. He's going to pull these out for a counterattack going in on this third base. Unfortunately, they're going in kind of piecemeal into this bunker. Instant repair. But there should be enough Lings to break this, and Lurker should be able to shut down this base completely if he's able to.
If he gets Lurkers in there, he's going to have to force a lift. Or he's going to force a lift, rather.
Yeah, even here, you know, good luck getting Bio down that ramp right there. Oh, he's going to go in on this third base. See, Doc Holliday, he's got this third base well defended. He's got a Defiler here, and he's got Lurkers, but there's no drones. So for all intents and purposes,
he's got 3 drones.
Oh, he's got 3 drones.
That's it. He's definitely behind in terms of bases. He would have liked to have that up a lot sooner.
Yeah, but you know, now he's got this third base lifted, so it's not actually a horrible position yet. Yogzototh's army is not really unified, and I think maybe he's, for the amount of bio he has, I think he's maybe overbuilt medics a bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say that seemed like a ton, but maybe this other army here, yeah, it's purely Marine. So
yeah, so I think he's fine now.
And he was able to.
Oh wow, fantastic play! He gets all the vessels and an entire group along with the medics. So even if he's deflected here yet again, it's gonna eat all the energy off the medics. and it's gonna buy him some time to saturate this third base. So it's still a good position for him.
And Yogzototh was able to restart mining his own third.
Yeah, that's true. So that's back in business, and he's got gas mining there. Now sieging the third base. This is the rough part about these tank-based styles, is it puts Zerg on a timer. Eventually you're just going to die to this kind of thing, no matter how many Dark Swarms you have. So...
Now, if the...
He's going to try and...
I have a question here. So if the splash damage can hit the other lurkers, but that's only if they're close enough to one another, correct?
Right, yeah, only the direct damage doesn't do anything, only the splash. So,
and right now they're just not touching, so they're not close enough.
Yeah, so if you have enough, and also he doesn't have vision, so I think that's partially why they're not firing, but, wow, this is a gigantic Zergling counterattack into the natural. Ooh. He's gonna pick off some tanks, so he's resetting the tank count here. And it's a lot of lings, man. Doc Holliday, he loves his Zerglings. And unfortunately, you know, Bio is pretty good, so... Marines do pretty well against massed lings, so... And it looks like he's gonna get busted at this third. He's just gonna run down the ramp now. Hydras here are not gonna be enough.
Yeah, 2 Hydras, probably not what he was looking for. Would have loved to make some more lurkers there, but...
So now the question is, does he want to close in on this army and block them off again? He already tried that in the past, but... I mean, eventually with no third base, Doc Holliday's just gonna bleed out. And he's already starting to fall behind its supply, so it's not looking too good for him.
You know what's funny? Yogzototh still has an entire control group in the bottom left here.
Yeah, I know. He hasn't moved them. He's still afraid of the lurkers that left to do that counterattack. So it's interesting. He's been playing that with a handicap. Although you know, I've seen players like EG. Well, he's not on EG anymore, but Machine do this where he'll park like 10 lurkers and 20 Hydras and 30 Zerglings at a base that a player just might take.
Right. And it's actually a good scout.
Yeah, it makes it look like, you know, hey, it looks like you're playing with like a 50 supply handicap, but in reality, if you're able to scout all of the other bases and you know that they're not taking any other bases on the map, you can just drown them or choke them out just by having units at that base.
Oh, we have a big drop.
There doing nothing.
Big drop coming into the main.
Oh yeah, two drop ships. There's gonna be no defense for this. A couple lings coming in though. Lings are really good at dealing with drops right as the Marines are leaving the drop ships. And this is not gonna be enough.
I don't think he had any medics with this.
No, not unless they're hiding under the drop ships. It looks like Doc Holliday is going to be trying to secure this mineral-only base, but if he loses his tech here, that's almost certainly curtains for him. There's no way for Zerg to come back into a game like this without tech play. Still no third base. Still no third base. It's the story of TVZ, unfortunately. And now, Doc Holliday is almost completely mined out of his natural.
He's
looking to double expand here.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Double expanding. Hoping he can survive long enough to transfer some drones and really macro up.
And actually, I like this base placement from Doc Holliday. I think maybe he should have gone for something like this earlier, because Doc Holliday is a player that loves to be aggressive with lurkers and lings, and if you have your bases close to your opponent, it can actually be somewhat beneficial. But I don't think that was his plan going into this. I think Doc Holliday planned on going for that lurker fake into the Mutalisks, which admittedly did quite a lot of damage, and then just securing a normal third base.
Is he gonna plague him?
Oh, you can get Great Plague.
Okay, wow. He plagued the army instead, which was still very good value.
Yeah, and he has enough energy for another plague here. Oh, it got irradiated. So he's not going to opt for another plague. Look at these Zerglings just skipping along.
There's another drop coming into the main, almost in the same exact spot here. This time there are medics, and this might be a killing blow.
Yeah, absolutely terrifying. Doc Holliday now at 50 supply versus 170. I think we see GG any second now, especially with this drop destroying the hive. I think this was just Doc Holliday on his last legs right here. Yogzototh, the third base just didn't kick in time for Doc Holliday. He had them running up at various points in time, but he wasn't able to mine from them for long enough to get his economy fully going and get out on the map.
Right.
I think it was just disappointing that he managed to get his bases sniped so early, because Yogzototh was just on top of denying those bases the entire game, just like textbook play, splitting apart the army, you know, playing it patiently when he thought his army was trapped, and like, look, he still has this entire control group down here.
Some more eraser.
Ready to deny a third base. Yeah. Wow, yeah, even the Scourge dying to irradiate, that's another awful feeling when you're trying to Scourge an irradiated science vessel and it dies to the irradiate damage. But yeah, that's the killing blow. Doc Holliday, GG.
There it is.
That's it. So, Yogzototh
With the win.
2-1 after like a really impressive first game by Doc Holliday. Like dominating TVZ performance. Yogzototh was able to pull it back and come back with the win in big macro games, tank style TVZ. Really impressive. So that was that's a win for
Samyang.
Yeah, Doc Holliday was on
Team Drag.
So another win for Samyang Fire.